gonna get you, we're gonna get you. I don't know if they do that in the remake. We'll find out very soon. Matt here is here to review the remake of Evil Dead, which I'll probably eventually, but I didn't make it to the theater. I was not interested, and we'll see what Matt thinks about Evil Dead remake.
All right, and to answer your question, no, it's not in the movie, but it is in the trailer for the movie.
Okay.
So,
there you go.
There you go. It's only in the Red Band trailer for the movie.
Oh yeah, that Red Band one.
So, Evil Dead. I have no idea how to review this. Because
Why didn't you say you were going to do some?
I'm gonna switch up my format because I don't know how to review this.
I don't understand it. Are you?
The reason being is that Evil Dead means something different to virtually everybody. There are your people who are hardcore purists of the original. There are people who want a strictly scary movie like Evil Dead 1. There are people who want scary, campy, funny like Evil Dead 2. There are people who have only seen like Army of Darkness and expect to just see the goofy action hero one-liners. And there are people who never knew that Evil Dead existed before now. And it's going to mean something different to you based on all of this. So, I'm going to give you multiple reviews. I have it all set up.
Okay.
So,
just long.
For the newcomer who dug the trailer, or the franchise fan who just wants more mayhem, I'm going to give the movie 3.5 stars. Like, it delivers exactly what the trailer promises. One of the best benefits of the movie was that all the special effects are done practically in camera. There's very little, if any, CGI.
Good.
A lot of the CGI that I can think of is mostly like just like the first raindrop or something like that.
Because you can't film it. Go ahead.
Because you can't film like a single raindrop following it from the sky to hit the ground.
Well, you could try.
I don't think so. Not the way that they do it in the movie.
Okay, fine.
So, little things like that. There is one noticeable CG element, and it's in the opening scene. And then after that, like even when the trees sort of come alive and start going around the girl, like that was all done practically in camera.
Holy shit! Bravo. Anyway.
Yeah. So like it gets those marks, and it is very very violent, very bloody. Everything that the trailer tells you it's going to be. It is very, very faithful in some respects, but also deviates in some respects to the original movie. And it combines sort of 1 and 2 together. But if you just are looking for balls-to-the-wall horror and or scary elements, gore, disturbing imagery, you're going to love the movie.
So it's 3 stars for them?
3.5 stars for them.
Oh.
For the horror enthusiasts, people who just, not necessarily just into Evil Dead, but just into horror movies in general, I'm going to give the movie 2.5. It works. There's something wonderful about a formula that's been in existence for decades being reused. And like this takes that formula and displays it exactly as is. 5 people go into a cabin in the woods. They unleash evil. Evil sort of picks them off one by one, and it's the cat and mouse chase. Who's going to be the one to be the last man standing? It's a very simple, straightforward menace. That said, this is a world where, since The Evil Dead has come out, movies like Scream and Cabin in the Woods have come out, who've exposed and criticized these formulas.
So going back to the original seems weird.
Especially 1 year later. Like,
well, that's what I thought.
Like 1 year after Cabin in the Woods, we get The Evil Dead, and it's like, I couldn't help. I was just sitting there, and I was like, "Oh, this is the part where the people in the control room are." And I was just like, I was looking at it as a.
When are they going to cut to that?
Yeah, pretty much as like a Cabin in the Woods thing, and it's like, and it doesn't help that that was a better movie, just in general. I know that you weren't blown away, but
well, we reviewed that. Check it out.
Yeah, check out our Cabin in the Woods. There's 2 of them.
Well, 1 with me and 2 with him.
Yeah, 1 solo. But so the horror enthusiasts, I think they'd enjoy it, but they wouldn't be blown away for this movie.
Okay. Where do you group me? This next one?
Probably the next one. Purists of the original, or fans of the sequels, you are probably going to give it 2 stars. It really ain't all that bad. The problem with it is that it loses it loses some huge like kudos. It, like for every practical in-shot effect, you have it loses the whimsy and tone of the original. Like even though the original movie itself is a scary balls to the wall horror movie, it feels, dare I say, like lighthearted. Like you enjoy watching the movie. It's very hard to enjoy watching this because it's an unrelenting attack on these characters.
It's like the Texas Chainsaw Platinum Jewels. Just
like it is.
crap.
It is just in your face with
That's what it looks
and
like.
unrelenting in where it will go. They do some really disturbing stuff in this movie, and
See.
like disturbing isn't necessarily my cup of tea. That said, it is really faithful to the original movie, but it also deviates in parts. There is no Ash character, and you don't actually know who is going to be the last man or woman standing. You really don't, and that's like there's a lot of great visual nods to the first two movies, but like Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
They don't really go anywhere. Like in that movie, you see the Freddy glove come up from in the bathroom and like go at her, and that's all it
Then
is.
it comes down.
It's just for a trailer shot. And in this, it's pretty much the same scene, like the same thing. The evil possesses one of the characters' hands, and that's about
long
as
enough
far
to
as
put in
it.
the trailer.
Well, it's as far as it goes. Immediately, the character grabs a electric carving knife and cuts off the hand. And that's it, it's dropped. It's just an excuse to put the violence on screen. Whereas in the original classic scene from Evil Dead 2, that hand becomes a character throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And speaking of characters from the rest of the movie, the cabin in the original two movies is a character very much. It so much so that it bleeds at times.
And has eyes.
Yeah. And in this, the cabin looks exactly the same. Like they went to great lengths to
Yeah.
make this look real, and there's some great footage. Like this isn't altered cinema. And like they darkened the screen a little bit in a couple shots to get the R rating because they're lighter in the Red Band trailer. Like there's more light and you can see what's happening. That was how they got around it. I was wondering how they were going to do that. Like the scene where the girl's licking the blade and splitting her tongue. Can't hardly see what's going on, but in the trailer, obviously you could, because it was unrated trailer.
Oh, okay.
So that's how they got around some things, but the cabin wasn't a character, nor was there any fantasy. Like fantasy was a big part of Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3. Like it, there was weird stuff going on, more so than just possession, and this movie doesn't really have that. Once the people become possessed, it's like just strict possession, Exorcist kind of style movie. But it's like the movie is structured like a video game where there's many boss battles. It's like one-on-one, whereas and it's like very linear.
Yeah.
Whereas the first one, and especially the second
You
one,
don't know what the hell's coming.
you don't know what the hell is coming, but there's multiple people crazy at the same time. Whereas in this, there's only one person who's possessed at a time.
Tag team. Your
And
turn.
like, I mean, other people are possessed, like the girl who's in the basement is possessed throughout the entire thing, but they never cut back to her during that stuff. Like, it's just...
Remember that great scene in when he's getting attacked by his girlfriend, and she's in the basement, and it's
Yeah, and she
Linda.
grabs his leg as he's getting, like,
Right,
holding
and
her
he's
back.
just like, get me out of here, I'm going nuts.
Yeah,
And
and
for this one, it's like one at a time.
One at a time. Everything's one at a time. That kind of bothered me.
Shut up, Cheryl.
And then the biggest problem is the difference in directors. Fede Alvarez, who directed this movie, is actually quite competent. This is a well-made movie. It's hard to complain about how it's made because it's done so well and effective.
but
He has no usage of camera. Like Sam Raimi, like made the camera. There's so many imaginative shots in all three of the
isn't
movies.
it amazing with like no money what he did at the first movie, and then
Yeah.
compared to this movie?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that's exactly what I thought, what I knew was gonna happen.
And like this one, they don't do anything really interesting with the camera. They do some visual nods to the previous movies, but those were Raimi's shots.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like the camera wasn't a character in this. That said, like Ash's Ash's Oldsmobile is in the movie, almost suggesting that like it's the same world. as the Evil Dead thing, just years later reconstructed.
Oh yeah.
I guess spoiler alert, but this isn't really a spoiler. There's an Easter egg if you stay through the end credits where Ash just sticks his head into frame, like it's all black, and then he raises his head into frame and he says groovy, and he kind of
Bruce
like,
Campbell.
yeah. And so Campbell is in it for about 7 seconds.
Okay.
To say groovy.
Which of course people like you mentioned, if they didn't know anything about any Evil Dead previous, they're gonna be like, who's that?
I had a friend who she'd seen the first one because I made her see it, and then she was just like, "Was that the same guy? He looks so old." And I was like, "Well, it's been 30 years." But
So how do you?
well, then I have one last review.
Oh.
The average moviegoer is just going to give this 1 star. It is Saw Gone Exorcist more than it
That's
is
exactly
Evil Dead.
what it
is
looks
just
like.
violence
Right.
coming at you, never ceasing to come at you. Though the performances are great, Jane Levy, who's the main actress and the source of evil in the movie, is pretty awesome. Fantastic. She gives one of the best performances I've seen in years. Like, she was terrific in the movie. But she's in such a crummy movie that surrounds her. And they do really stupid things that a lot of bad horror movies do, especially nowadays. Like the Force that's in the woods, they give a presence, a physical corporeal form, and it's a little girl. And it's like, fuck you. It was the mystery was cool. Like that you didn't know what it was. The fact that it's not now a little girl, or quite possibly her, you know, like
her?
a reflection, like Jane Levy could be like her just in heavy makeup or something.
Oh.
It just like that bothers
Yeah,
me.
it's the whole. Let's not leave anything to the imagination. Let's just show them everything and have it be stupid.
Exactly. But I mean, the thing with the movie, and it's so hard to review, and that's why I can't give it. I give it I give it no stars, not 0 stars. 0 stars means it's terrible. No stars means I can't review it, because I sort of fall somewhere in the middle. There's so much that's good about the movie,
So
there's also so much that's bad about the movie. I can't find like a nice middle ground where I fit in. That's why I'm very curious to know what you're gonna think. Like, even though it has all the problems that you feared, it probably has all these things that you didn't expect. And that was exactly where I fit in. Like, it had all these things that I didn't expect, and it had all these things that I feared, but they never really come together.
Well, I'll see it like there's a second run theater. Maybe I'll see it if it comes there, and then we can.
Yeah.
Because I gotta see it, especially now. But I'm sure I'll hate it.
And the other interesting thing is their plans, because we'd mentioned this previously, that they had planned to do like 7 movies overall, and it was going to be Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead the remake,
And then Evil Dead.
and then they're going to
4.
do a sequel to this one called Evil Dead 2, where they'll probably come up with something clever, and then they're doing Army of Darkness 2. And then the plan is to merge the 2 together, and I can see how they can do that now a little better.
Okay.
Because it wasn't the same book. It wasn't the same Evil Dead book, which explains why the possessed people are different. And in Army of Darkness, Bruce Campbell came back wrong. Like, he was supposed to take, depending on the ending you've seen, he's supposed to take multiple drops. He's supposed to take 6 or 5, and he ends up taking 6, and the world is destroyed. Or the other ending is, he says, "Yeah, I said the words mostly," and then the evil erupts again. So it could be that like that's how they tie it in together. Like, he destroyed the one book, Necronomicon is gone as of the first Evil Dead, but somebody found the other book, like a sister book or something like that, and that's where they're going to tie them.
Almost like the new Star Trek reboot, almost.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just thought of like wouldn't it have been awesome, or they could do this in a sequel, if the characters in this movie or a sequel they need some camping supplies, they go to S-Mart.
Yeah, and like that's exactly what I think the direction they're going to be going is. And the movie did decent enough that I can foresee that it will get granted its sequel.
What did it do? Do you know?
It didn't open up into number 1. I think Jurassic Park actually opened up into number 1. It came out the same, and it was. I got to tell you, it was so refreshing. I walked out of this movie into Jurassic Park because that was the only time I was going to have to see either of them because I was so busy. So I did a double feature, and it was just like after I came out of this one, I was like, I don't want to see a drop of blood ever again in my life. This is just truly ridiculous. And I walked into Jurassic Park, and it's a completely different feeling. And I became so infatuated with cinema again, even after having been turned off of it by like
something. Let's go. That's how I feel, and maybe you're gonna feel that way as you grow older, because that's how I feel. It's like watching something like Saw. It's just like I want to go put in Friday 13th, 1980.
And like
And it's like heroin.
and like for every one, like there have been plenty of bad horror movies, especially to come out recently, but there are good ones that come out as well, and this one sort of walks the line between both. I'm very curious to know what you're gonna think, because I saw it with a bunch of people who hated Evil Dead, people who've never seen Evil Dead, and people who are hardcore fans, and all of them had different reactions.
I'd say that based on just like I say, the trailer, which I hate. I mean, I probably won't like it.
Right on. Let me know. We'll do a second review once you have seen
I've seen
and
it.
then we can get all spoilery with it. Not that like there's many spoilers. If you've seen Evil Dead, you've seen this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also the blood, like
It was probably dark, like it wasn't red, right?
no, it was definitely red.
Oh,
it was
what
red
were
all
you
the way
gonna say?
through. The blood, like oddly enough, didn't seem as bloody as the first movie. Like the first movie, like everything was more realistic and disturbing in this one, but it didn't seem quite as bloody. I know they used plenty more gallons of blood, and there's a very specific reason for that. If you've seen the movie, you will know what scene I'm talking about. But like there wasn't like in the first Evil Dead when somebody got hurt, there was gushes of blood, and everything was more realistic. If somebody was cutting off their hand, it was just like, shh, and then they were just like dripping blood
Great
afterwards.
scene.
Yeah, and then. Yeah, like there was nothing like that.
Isn't there like a boom?
Yeah.
sound?
And it's great. And like, so I mean, like this movie is very, very bloody, but it's more disturbing than it is bloody.
Yeah.
And I would argue that even though they filmed with more gallons of blood for this movie, if you exclude one scene, which is kind of excusable, the original movie is more bloody.
Okay.
So.
Weird review. You don't know where you stand.
I don't know where I stand. I
It's-
fall somewhere in the middle.
it's-
Like I'm torn.
All right. Are you ever gonna be able? It's always gonna be.
I don't know. I've only seen it the once. I'll see it again. I'm sure. I'll buy the DVD because I'm curious about how they did some of their stuff.
Then you can well, no, I never get to. Okay, never mind. I'll just see it at the second run or whatever because I never see him anyway. So whatever. All right. Is that about it?
Yeah, that's it. That's Evil Dead for you, 2013.
2013 Evil Dead. Thank you for watching.